welcome to today's episode. I'm so excited you are here. Today, we are talking to a very, very special guest. I absolutely adore her. Her name is Michelle Chen. She is an Akashic Record practitioner, healer. She works with dragons. She is a soul activator. She helps people find their purpose, and she does so much more. She does multi-dimensional healings with aligned practices, sacred ceremonies, and circle medicine. Michelle radically empowers healers, coaches, and heart-centered individuals to align with and empower their highest potential so that they can shine their magnificent light, share their potent magic, and unleash their authentic soul expression boldly and widely. Today, I'm really excited because what we ended up talking about was dragon magic. I have all sorts of different clients and practitioners reach out to me about dragons, and I have clients that will all of a sudden have dragons show up. I have personally worked with dragons in the past, and I think that they're really beautiful elementals. We have all sorts of different elementals that we can work with, like from fairies to crystal beings to dragons and so much more. Now, she's going to share more about the dragon magic and the Akashic Records. And if you're new to me and new to this show, I'm an Akashic Record Master Teacher, and the Akashic Records are basically a field of infinite possibilities that every word, deed, thought from the moment your soul is incepted is recorded in the Akashic field, and we can receive love and guidance and support in any and all areas of your life. And as a teacher, I have all sorts of different Sacred Awakening students, which is my Akashic Record program, that end up getting connected with all sorts of different ways that they are meant to be on purpose in their lifetime. And Michelle's purpose here, and this is only one of her many purposes, is to connect people with dragons. So let's hop in. Enjoy. I am so excited to talk to you, Michelle, today. How are you doing?
I am doing well. I'm excited to be here today.
Yay. Now, I know you have taken Sacred Awakening, you know all about the Akashic Records. What is one of the things that you love about the records?
I would say how two things. I would say the records being really practical, meaning that I use it in my daily life. I use it for everything, really, for any time I need to make a major decision. I go into my records to ask all the questions, right? To get guidance and advice. So I love how practical it is that I can weave it into my daily life because that was something I did not expect. And I love the kind of depth and transformation that it has really allowed me to have like over the years. And when I say that, I mean constantly being guided and constantly kind of expanding my wisdom and my spirituality as well. And so a lot of the gifts that's been coming in, and when I say gifts, I mean intuitive gifts, I mean different ancestral gifts as well, or gifts from different lifetimes. All of that coming in for me has been so like that's one of the reasons why I love the rackets. And it's one of my main modalities actually.
I love that. Now, you like using the records with dragons. Tell me a little
I
bit
do.
about your relationships with the dragon elementals and why somebody would be guided towards working with dragons. And then we'll kind of like dig
Yes.
even deeper into it because I like talking, like, I know a lot of people like looking at dragons or they have dragons come up. And so I think this will be fun to chat about.
Yeah, definitely. So dragons have been coming in really in full force this year. And this makes a lot of sense because we are moving into the age of Aquarius, right? I mean, Pluto
Mhm.
is moving into Aquarius. And they are here to help us prepare for this ascension and this deep awakening and this profound transformation that's happening on this like huge collective level. And so if you are drawn to dragons or they have been showing up in your world, there is a reason for that. And the reason is awakening. They're really here to help us awaken to our purpose, and our power and our authentic truth. And so for us to embody the light, our inner light, so that we can shine and radiate outwards. And so one of the reasons, so the dragons in the Akashic Records, the dragons showed up in the Akashic Records for me. And prior to that, I was like, I don't know who they are. I've never worked with them. And I was initially a little hesitant because their energy was very different. They have a really boldness about them. They're fearless, they're bold, they're also really powerful, but more importantly, like unapologetic about their
Mhm.
power and their gifts. And for me at that time, I was still struggling with self-doubt. I was struggling with where I was going on my spiritual path. And so when they showed up for me, I was like, oh, I this is probably not for me.
Yeah,
But then they started showing up more and more in my client session, in my meditation. And dragons do not violate free will, meaning that
no,
they
they
will
don't.
not. Yeah, exactly. So they won't come in unless you invite them in. So they're kind of like hanging out at the side. And so I
In the
see them.
periphery.
Yes, exactly. I see them, I sense them, but they're not in. They don't come in. And so before I started working with them, I had no idea why they were there. And then finally, because they showed, I kept showing up in my meditation and also in my client sessions. I asked the dragons, I was like, why are you here? And the dragon said, we're here for you. And so I told the dragons, well, okay, show me, send me somebody to help me with this. And they did. And the next day, like out of the blue, I saw a social media post learning more, someone was sharing about dragons. And I was like, okay, I get it. I get the hint. I get the sign. And I told the dragons, I welcomed them in. I welcomed them
Mm,
in. And when they did, it was just this huge transformation. It became like a night and day. All I can say is acceleration.
that's
They
awesome.
really helped me with my spiritual growth in a way that was like, I would say, leaping through timelines. You're really collapsing time with them. And I've just been working with them since.
That's cool. So my very first experience with dragons was I was just starting off on my spiritual journey and I heard about this red dragon workshop where I was like, "Oh, I don't know what that is, but that sounds interesting. Let me go
Yeah.
take it." And the woman I took it from, she's a hoot. Like she's like the funniest person. And like I was just like so fascinated by
Yeah.
what different dragons can do because they have different colors which have different meaning and that's really all and
Yeah.
very important and they show up in so many different ways and I have lots of Akashic Records students that are just like I'm seeing these dragons all the time. Now, it doesn't happen for everyone.
Yeah.
And some
Yeah.
people are really meant to go out and speak about it, which I think you are one of those people that are really meant to go out and share about the wisdom of this elemental magic because it's
Yeah.
dragon magic and it's really, really cool. So tell me a little bit more about because you said that they help accelerate things. Can you give me an example of what that looks like
Yes.
and
Yeah.
how that's helped you?
Yeah. And so thanks for asking this question because when I say accelerate my growth, it really is one of the things that I really wanted to do was to do an activation. And I remember thinking, it's like, I don't know how, but I just know like I meant to do an activation in the Akashic Records. So oftentimes I have a really strong feeling, but I don't know how. And I'm the kind of person that needs like clear steps. The
Yes,
dragon
you're very
showed up.
analytical.
Yes, it's like I need clear step by step, right? And the dragon showed up, and the dragon was like, I'm gonna teach you and I'm gonna show you how. And I was like, and I'm like, how? And they said, they're gonna do it on me. And they gave me clear steps on how to do it. And my very first activation was with the dragons, and it was a gold dragon. And I've been working with a gold dragon. This dragon is mine. It's been a guide for me, taking me to different realms. And yeah, really showing me the ropes, right? And so I feel like this dragon is really expanding my awareness, bringing me to and introducing me to different dragons, and when you talk about the colors, exactly, I see them as different frequency, and
Yes.
dragons will come in for my client session or for myself, right, based on what they need, and the energy is different, the frequency, the color is very different, and they're here for specific reasons, and then they leave. And so when the dragon, my gold dragon, directed me and showed me how to do a solar plexus activation for myself. That really helped activated my self confidence, but they were also really clear as to what I was here to do and why I'm here, why they're here for me, and how I'm supposed to work with them. And they gave me very clear instructions. In a way, I'm like, I need this because the thing about dragons is they're very action oriented as well. So they're really
Yes.
here when I work with them, and I know everyone has different relationships with dragons, and honor that relationship. But for me, the dragons are really here about purpose. They're really here to embody, and so transforming all of the higher dimensions and divinely inspired ideas into form so that we can take practical action. And so one of the other things with acceleration, and I would just use a couple of examples with my clients, right? Examples to my clients. Um, when we do a dragon activation or a dragon meditation, oftentimes they will take them through the Akashic Records back to their home world or an origin or a realm that their soul is ready to receive the gifts from. And then they help them download that information and download all the gifts. And so a lot of my clients after that have clarity on their purpose, but they continue to work with the dragons to continue to expand their gifts. And so people will reach out to me and they would say, "Oh, this is amazing. I've been doing this, this, and this now with the dragons after continuing to meditate with them." And so for me, it's the same way. They open me up to like my galactic lineage, angelic lineage, all the different, I would say, all the different dimensions and the lineage of my soul that I wasn't even aware of. And it's just having them as the guide. So oftentimes when I'm in the Akashic Records, I may not always know where to go. They're the ones leading me. And it's yeah, it's been fabulous.
I love that. And the cool thing is they're an elemental being, like a you can consider it like a spirit guide that
Yeah,
can help you in the records and outside of the records. So
yes,
that's the neat thing about them. So I love that your clients come away from the session and are like, "Oh, I'm working with the dragons now," because
yeah,
whoever's meant to work with them, they'll show up for, and they don't hang around all the time. Like they show up when they're on purpose and when they're meant to be there, and then you can summon them when you need them, but they're not going to just sit and hang out on your shoulder all day because that's not
no.
how they work. But it's so neat that you're attracted to them and that you've gone into different realms with working with them. What else would you say the dragons have helped you with that was like kind of like an odd thing that you would have never expected?
Um, Good question. I would say, well, I would say I don't know if it's an odd thing, but I was really surprised at how practical the dragons are. And when I mean practical, I mean that they tell me which website to go to, what offers I should be putting out
Love
in the
that.
world. And so that has been really practical and in ways that I just wasn't expecting. And so when I mean that, I mean a lot of us as light workers, we're here to radiate and shine a light. And a lot of us are called to share our gifts with the world. And oftentimes, sharing that gift means that you have to show up online, you have to be visible, strategies, etc. Right? And so the dragons have been kind of clear about here are some people to work with. Here are some ways and offers, and here and really clear step by step. And again, I was not expecting that. I wouldn't say it was odd, but it was just something that unexpected, a pleasant surprise.
Well, I think it's odd for you, especially since you're very structured and analytical. So it's the opposite of how your brain operates and thinks, but they are sharing it in a way that you can still relate to and understand, which I think is really neat.
Right. And there have been pushing me to also, lean into more my divine feminine and my intuition. So a lot of times it really is, when I work with them, it's really all about intuition because when they're showing me, this is the offer. They give me structure, how they would like. So when I mean a structure, I really mean like this is something that they want me to bring forth into the world. So it could be a specific offer that they want me to bring, which is related to dragon medicine and dragon healing, and they give me the structure to do that, but ultimately is really about trusting myself.
Mm-hmm.
Do I trust this information? And oftentimes, again, not odd, but I think is a really unexpected way that they show up for me, and also a lot of my clients is they really push you outside your comfort zone. So oftentimes they will really push me, and I will be afraid, because they want me to like move, to go deeper or to expand in different ways that I'm not yet ready. And they would always tell me, do not worry, we are here with you. And we will bring you the people who are meant to receive this information. And I had to trust them every time. And so I would say this year, when I started working with them, when I said yes to working with them this year, a lot of changes have happened, like accelerated growth in this year alone. And it was really trusting and working with the dragons and not second guessing myself anymore.
That's great. And
Yeah.
where do you feel your relationship is going with this type of practice?
Um, can you explain it? Can you ask the question in a different way?
Yeah. So you said this year you have had a lot of changes and it's
Yes.
really accelerated. Where
Yes.
do you see your practice going with working with the dragons, let's say next year?
Yeah, I would say being just showing up on a much bigger stage and being to share to share the wisdom of the dragons, to share the power and the alchemy, this transformative shift that can happen in your world when you start working with dragons. And so being more being more visible on different platforms have always been something that I have always been a little shy about. There is a little bit of like, like, yeah, it's like I hesitate doing that for different reasons. And every time the dragons just keep pushing me by either sending me opportunities or they would just really push me. And then I would get afraid. And then I bring them in to transmute it. And so they're slowly helping me. When I say expand, I mean that way, getting over my
Mhm.
fears, pushing me outside my comfort zone. And they've been very clear as to why this is necessary right now as we shift into this new energy, right? And so, yeah, so I would say my relationship with them would definitely deepen. I am already doing programs with dragons and mentorships with related to dragon medicine. And I think it's going to go bigger. I think next year it's going to be more master classes and more, yeah, and
That's
more
amazing.
programs.
No, I just want to clarify this because I'm assuming I know what you mean by they're pushing you. It's an invitation. They're not making you do
No,
anything.
100%. Yes, and
You're showing
exactly.
up to this invitation and you're accepting the invitation to go deeper. And one of the things that I really love what you're saying is they're helping you get over your fear of being seen because I think so many people and it doesn't even matter if you're in this world or wanting to be a healer or a coach or whatever. It could be
Exactly.
anywhere in your life that you want to be seen as an authority figure, as a change maker, or as fill in the blank. And I love that they're encouraging you to step outside your comfort zone to work through that fear because everybody has a message and what that message is and how they get it out there is so different from person to person. And so I love
Yeah.
that they're sharing that with you. Now, with that being said, what is your favorite color dragon to work with and why?
The gold dragon.
Ah,
The gold, because the gold dragon, the red dragon was actually my very first dragon who showed up. But the gold dragon has been with me And my very first activation, the solar plexus, was the gold dragon, and the gold dragon showed me how to do it. And I've just been working with the gold, and so the gold dragon showed me in the Akashic Records my relationship, the gold dragon, the multiple lifetimes that we have led together, and why this gold dragon is sort of my main guide for now, because there are definitely other guides that are stepping in, and so and that gold dragon is about identity, it's about confidence, it's about power. And I think about the gold dragon as the core of who we are inside us. And it's also where our light is. And so when I think about the gold dragon, I think about the gold dragon as being the dragon that really protects my illuminates and protects my soul path and my mission and my purpose. And so again, when I say dragons, I work with dragons, is really about stepping into your purpose, embodying your purpose, right? And living your authentic truth. And speaking your authentic truth, right? Whatever that truth is, whatever that message is, as you mentioned. And all of us exactly have that message to share, but all of us have a light within us that wants to radiate outwards. And so the gold dragon is very good at helping, especially when it comes to worthiness, confidence, identity. And that has been true for me. And because I struggled with worthiness all my life. And so I think it makes perfect sense that the gold dragon is what showed up for me to help me transmute it. And so what is really interesting is like it almost feels like you are leveling up, right? And so you go to a stage, like if you think about it in terms of a game, right? You level up stage one, you play the game, you win, and then immediately stage two. And so there is almost like no rest almost because they keep pushing. And again, when I say pushing, it really is an invitation because we have free will. And there are times when I be like, I can't do this because, yeah, because 3D life happens and they're
Yes.
okay with that. They are perfectly okay with that. They have no judgment. There's no judgment with them. There's no shame with them. In fact, I am my worst critic, but working with them is how they help me, be more compassionate with myself.
I think that's amazing. Now, you mentioned we're moving into the age of Aquarius. What do you think that looks like, and what are
Ooh.
you looking forward to?
Yes, I think of that as an invitation to, I think of the age of Aquarius, almost like, we talk about entering this golden age or new earth energy. I feel like this is what we're moving towards, but it's really an opportunity for us on a collective level to shape it how we want because the energies are going to be here. There's going to be deep transformation. Things are going to start to, I don't like to use the word collapse, but they will collapse. And collapse could be your beliefs and structures, systems that we believe to be the truth. Things are going to start falling apart in the sense of like we may start shifting our understanding of what we want. And so um, for me, it is a very exciting time, but it's also kind of scary to be really honest, because what would the future hold? I don't know. And for me, working with the dragons really helped me focus on my goal and focus on my purpose because I'm clear as to what I'm here to do, what my purpose is, and how I meant to work with the dragons, at least for now. And so I'm just kind of focused on that. And yeah, and we'll see where this next 2 decades take us, right? Where this
I know.
energy takes us.
Well, it will definitely be exciting in its own strange way. And however we think it's going to happen, it
It,
always ends up way better and way stranger than we can ever imagine. And I'm looking forward to it because
it's
there's
an
a lot of
adventure.
collapsing that
Yes,
I agree with
exactly.
you on that. There's a lot of beliefs and pattern collapsing and just even um, collective consciousness collapsing of what societal norms are and what that looks like and where it's going
100%. Yeah.
and and what we are okay with and what we're not okay with because so
Yeah.
oftentimes people are led by societal norms but that's not really what they're in alignment with and that's why I love having these strange conversations because you know if we talk about weird things, then weird things become the norm where people feel more comfortable talking about those weird things that they're
Yeah,
experiencing. Because
yeah,
there's so many people experience strange, unexplained things, but it's very true, it's very real for them, and I think it's amazing.
yeah. It's the word the dragons keep using is authenticity, is
Mhm.
going within to be authentic. And so, and that is why they're here, and that's why they're showing up in so many people's world, is because for things to collapse, it's always like, I like to use the analogy of the tower moment, right? It's scary, but things have to fall in order to be rebuilt. And that's what they're saying, that this is an opportunity. How do you want the world to look like? How do you want to rebuild it? But before we start, because people are going to start really awakening, right? They're going to start rethinking, reflecting the systems that no longer work, the beliefs that no longer work. And it's going to be a lot of fear that's going to come
Mhm.
up. And that's why the dragons are here, because the dragons are very good at transmuting fear, but they're also very good and helping us transmute with their dragon fire a lot of outdated beliefs. And one of the things that I love about working with the dragons is they help us see from a higher perspective. And when I mean higher perspective, I mean on a spiritual level. Some of the things that are happening here on the surface in the 3D, it's not happening to us, it's happening for us. And
Mhm.
that's how they're here to help us see. And that, I would say, it's another transformational shift, because ever since I started working with the dragons, I'm able to look at every challenge, you know, as a blessing. And it really shifted my mindset, because I'm able to approach anything that's frustrating, or anything that is like anger inducing, not from a place of anger or fear, but really from a place of deeper understanding, and even being thankful. Even though I may not like it in the moment, I'm able to get out of that pattern much quicker, because I'm able to recognize it and see it from a higher perspective. And that's really what the dragons are here to do, really at the start as we shift into this new energy.
That's beautiful. Now, for you with the dragons, do you teach people? I know you do sessions while you'll introduce them to it. Do you teach people how to connect with dragons on their own, and like what does that look like? You don't have to give us, your trade secrets, but like what does that look like if somebody wanted to do a
Yeah.
session with you or do a group program with you?
Yeah, so I have master classes which is related to the dragons, where we talk about one specific topic with the dragons, and have the dragons that I work with, like for instance, right, the gold dragon with solar plexus and confidence and stepping into your power and purpose. So I have one that is just to honor the gold dragon, and that's a group, master class. But I do work like one-on-one. I love working one-on-one with people, because everyone is so different. And in a session, we really go deep into clearing any beliefs, any fear. I do it through the Akashic Records. So we will do a lot of timeline healing, generational ancestral healing, and then preparing them to receive the dragon. And it's usually an attunement, and inviting their dragon or dragons to come in, introducing them to the dragon realm, and they will learn how to work with the dragon, because every person is different, and every person's gift is a little different, and the dragons usually bring gifts coming in, helping them with their purpose. um, I also teach people how to do Reiki healing with the
Mhm.
dragons. It's basically use Sui Reiki but amplified
Oh.
by Dragon Fire, and it's called the Five Element Dragon Fire Reiki, because we bring Dragon Fire through the meridians, which is the energetic highway. And so that is something else, that if people who feel called to do energy work, and especially people who love Reiki, having that, and being amplified by Dragon Fire, it's something very different, I would say. It's deeper, it's transformational, but it really goes like, a lot of times it really goes deep, because dragons for me are all about opening portals into different dimensions.
Mhm.
That's how I work with them. And so a lot of times that portal also means going into past lives, timeline, and all the fun stuff, all the multi-dimensional, cool, crazy stuff.
So Michelle, if someone wanted to take a master class or get a one-on-one session with you, where would they contact you at?
You can contact me via my link tree.
Awesome. And we will link the link tree and all of her little socials that go to the link tree in the show notes and in the show description as well. And I'm excited for anybody that's drawn to this because for me, as an Akashic Record Master teacher, I get to see a lot of cool things that people are attracted to and are connected to. And I always love when I'm like, ooh, you have some massive big dragons hanging out with you, or you have some little ones, or you have some medium ones, or you have this one, or you have that one. And I love because some of the ones I've never like I don't have access to those. They only have access to them. And
Yeah.
it's really neat to see and witness. And so I love when someone that is meant to be in this lane teaching it is doing it. And I think you are absolutely meant to be sharing about the dragon magic because they're meant to be shared with many.
Yeah.
So awesome, my friend. What are you looking forward to next year and why?
What am I looking forward to next year? Next year it's going to be a blast. That's all I can tell. I feel the energy. Next year it's going to be, so this year is laying seeds. Next year it's going to, well, the dragons are telling me it's going to be a huge transformation. It's going to be a adventure. Yeah, and they're basically saying just buckle up. So I am
Awesome.
looking forward to bigger things. I'm looking forward to being, yeah, more bold and doing things outside my comfort zone. And it feels like it's going to be a lot of changes already that I'm sensing. And that would mean, being on different platforms now instead of, yeah, they're very specific about what they want me to do. And so I'm going to follow that. But the word they keep using is transformation and expansion.
That's amazing. I love that. Well, it was so nice chatting with you today. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and magic.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. And if you want to connect with Michelle, check out the show notes or show description. We'll have her link in those areas. And as always, please make sure you like and subscribe and share this with a friend. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.